snacks.
Ladies and gentlemen, what it do, snackers and snackers? It's your boy Gage. I have Sin in his building. I got it this time, Sin.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
In his building. Jokes in his building. Jokes, say hi.
Hey.
Hey. My bad.
We have special guest, Mari.
Mm-hmm.
Mari, what up?
How's it going, guys?
Good.
We're great. We're so happy to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course. And you know what? We're just going to take the time now to shout out Rodney Roberts and the art nerd community because you know what I mean? Like, that's how you do things. That's how it should be done. Mm-hmm. So, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are watching, who are tuning in now, you are live with the Loading Snacks crew. This is Loading Snacks Weekly, where we get together once a week and we talk about things that are happening in pop culture. And today will be no different. There's a lot happening, though. You would think that in times like these, some things would slow down and we might have less to discuss. Not the case. Right now. So we are going to be talking a little bit just about like the changing landscape of comic conventions themselves in 2020. You know, how we feel, what we miss, just kind of when we expect things to get back to some level of normalcy. We're going to bring back up the idea of someone buying AMC's theaters, because we did talk about that a couple weeks ago. We will be talking about Disney reassuring us about the release date for Mulan to the theaters.
Okay.
And curveball, let's just do it. Let's do it right now. Are y'all ready?
Do it.
Curveball, left field. Are you prepared for this? This is a serious curveball. I have to read it to you. Are you ready?
Whoa. He got to read it. Oh, no.
Do it. All right, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Pay close attention.
All right.
You have been granted by Odin himself the task of choosing someone worthy of a new weapon, the likes of Mjolnir or Stormbringer, including yourself. You can choose yourself. It comes with all the powers and abilities associated with the previously named hammers. Choose anyone in the Marvel Universe or yourself and pick the weapon. Sin, I'm going to you first.
Wow, last time we went with Ninja Turtles, we were me first.
Listen,
power of polar bear.
Curveball, I aim it where I want, sir.
Fair enough. So it has to be Mjolnir or Stormbringer?
No. You're gonna choose. It has the same powers and abilities
just
as Mjolnir or Stormbringer, but it's not going to be one of those two. You're gonna pick what weapon it is. I don't care what kind of weapon it is. It could be a pistol. It doesn't matter to me.
Oh, okay.
You're choosing the weapon.
Captain America.
You're choosing the person from the Marvel Universe and or yourself.
Captain America and the Shield.
Captain America and the Shield itself.
Yeah.
Has and why Cap? Just because he's your favorite?
He's not necessary. Like he's very high. He ain't
really.
No. Gambit is my favorite. He's under that. Like, yeah. Like
what happened? Why not Gambit?
We'll see what it happens.
I know Captain America's going to use it for the right reasons.
Oh, all right. Okay, Gambit's not worthy.
Nah, he's not worthy.
He's not worthy. I dig it.
Yeah, just but I think Cap and the Shield will be my just off the pick.
That's what pops. That's what comes to you.
Yes, Cap and his Shield will be his Mjolnir or whatever. Yes, nobody can lift it but him, type of deal. All that kind of stuff. Save the world. Yep, Cap and the Shield.
Wouldn't that be crazy if nobody else could lift the shield but him?
That'd be dope.
Like, can you imagine that for a second? Like, if nobody else, you know what I mean?
Dope. Yeah.
That would be like, can you imagine him just laying it down on like Thanos' chest? Like, here, bro.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It's all.
Let's go with this for a second. I'm gonna put this right here.
Yeah.
I'm going to help everybody else. Yeah.
All right, Mari, I'm coming to you next.
Oh my goodness. Thor is my favorite, so it's like really hard for me to go outside of that.
Well, here's the thing. Thor's not necessarily losing his power. We're not taking his hammer from him.
So
we're just giving the same way Beta Ray Bill
So he can just have like an additional weapon.
Yeah, it's this. Yeah, I mean, you could if you would like to give Thor a second.
So he's got his hammer, dual wielding spinning hammers.
I'm okay with that. Is he now like twice as strong though? Is that how that works?
Oh,
See,
you really
somehow
do
we have to
throw
write the
these
fan
curveballs.
fiction for this. That'd be a little scary.
That would be slightly terrifying, especially with how he starts off as like a rambunctious like kid, essentially.
Yeah.
So if we're going like outside of Thor, I was thinking Spider-Man with like shuriken.
Oh,
Web shuriken? Web
Web shuriken.
web shurikens.
Yeah.
I'm with it because those would pack a lightning punch real fast. Like, I don't know if you want those coming at you real quick. I'm with it. Okay, jokes. What you got?
Like I just want some like utter destruction. So like I'd say like Hulk and then give him Mjolnir. I mean, granted he's lifted it before, but and just have him just like go on just a rampage. Like you don't want to be in front of Hulk as it is. Like
so you're not really trying to pick somebody that's worthy or make him worthy. You just want to see him.
Right.
He's just gonna pick the hammer up, and he's just going
to Hulk smash even more.
He gonna blow. He just want to see everything.
Him does what he normally does anyway.
Hey, with the hammer. I mean,
with the hammer.
With the hammer, and he can call upon some lightning and some thunder all at the same time too.
Yeah, I don't know that he needs that.
Yeah, I can't see Hulk conjuring thunder.
But here's the thing, though. He doesn't actually like do it like on purpose. It's just like as he's swinging and destroying and it just happens. Like he just does. He doesn't have an idea. Like, how do you control this? Like, and he's just.
It's random. You know what? You should have gave it to Bruce Banner instead. That's what you should have done. Should have gave it to Banner.
Technically.
Nah. We're not going technically. We're not doing that. I don't like technically. You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. See, the thing about it is I don't like to do this stuff because I'm the one who thinks of it and I get a chance to kind of think it out ahead of time. But I'm just going with Psylocke. I'm just going with Psylocke.
Okay.
You know what I mean? With a katana, why not? That works for me. All right, that was a little fun. Little curveball.
Hey, right to throw in? Yeah. Mike Slade was like, his dude Cyclops gets a magical beat stick of equality to beat the snot out of people with. Yes. and he also says Rogue gets a lightsaber.
Well,
but here's the issue with that.
Slade's gonna give anybody a lightsaber he can. Like, you can put a lightsaber in your hand, they're getting a lightsaber. I'm not necessarily mad at that either. I'd be okay with that.
Cyclops
I'd be okay with that.
That just rubs me.
They just rubs you the wrong way.
Just rubs me the wrong way. Cyclops with a beat stick. I don't like that at all.
You don't like Cyclops.
You don't like Cyclops.
No, I don't.
Yeah, he does.
Cyclops and Superman are like right on the I don't like you scale. Like they're kind of neck and neck.
The only way he likes Cyclops if it's Death of X. Then he likes Cyclops.
Are Cyclops and like Leonardo from the Ninja, are they like neck and neck for you? Do you dislike Leonardo?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. My man, 100%.
Ass quarterback. I'm the leader of the team. I'm all no. Shut that. No. Yeah.
Hey, listen. I feel you.
No.
100%.
Okay.
I feel you. Okay. I'm with that. I like that. So we don't like Cyclops. We don't like Superman, and we don't like Leonardo.
Not even a little bit. All three of them kept match. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Is there somebody in One Piece you feel that way about?
Probably if I sit down and honestly think about it.
Okay.
Like right now off the cuff, I'm not thinking about it, but I'm pretty sure I can find that person.
There's somebody.
Yeah,
I dig it. All right. We had our fun. Let's get down to business. Don't Mulan me right now.
Mike lightsaber too. Lightsaber. Not your job. You don't need that.
Yeah. All right, look. So a couple weeks ago, we had a discussion about AMC getting their credit rating downgraded to like a negative CCC. And them basically saying that they didn't think that they may not be able to come out of this
Right.
unscathed. Like they may not survive this whole thing. And at the time, we began to speculate about, well, what would happen if somebody like Netflix bought those theaters out? We talked about, Netflix already had subscription plans, and that's kind of what AMC had to do because of Movie Pass, all of that jazz. And the only other folks that we came up with that we thought might have the money and the ability to do it was Amazon. And lo and behold,
the news today.
Yeah, lo and behold, AMC stock shoots up because word on the street is Amazon is interested. Okay.
I want to start tuning in because we be talking about stuff. I'm just saying.
Hey, on facts.
I'm just saying, like, people might start tuning in. We be ahead of the curve.
It's a real thing.
But continue, sir.
Jokes, man. What do you think about this? What do you think about the possibility of Amazon? Honestly, even if they don't buy AMC, honestly stepping into the realm of owning theaters.
It's actually an interesting thing to think about. So definitely step one is if they do acquire some of the locations, theaters, whichever way they may go about it, is how are they going to make this unique? Because, I mean, granted, theaters aren't really special per se. Everyone has something that makes you want to come to the theater. Obviously, you can only go to a theater to see a movie on a big giant screen television, a big screen, but they have to do something that's going to make people want to actually come in. Now, and that being said, if you tell me that, some of their exclusive things that normally you can only watch if you have Amazon Prime will now be shown in said theater, cool. Or if you tell me, hey, upgrade your Amazon Prime subscription for like an extra $50 yearly or something like that, and now, boom, you can now come into theaters and see these new releases and things as they come out. Really interesting to see if they actually, and that's if they decide to, I'm sure there's going to be the behind the scenes, certain contracts and we know how all that stuff goes. But at the end of the day, if you tell me I can go to the theater and see something that normally would only show on Amazon Prime in a theater, even if it was like for a short run, and maybe they start switching things out relatively quickly, I'm actually interested in it. Something a little bit different to experience in the theater.
Mari, what are your thoughts?
I was thinking that they already do some of their Prime movies going into the theater, and then it's only a couple weeks before they release it on Prime. Right. I'm curious to know how that would, if that would continue, where if they're doing those theatrical releases only in AMC, do they release it on their Prime still only a couple weeks after? Or is it going to be the 2 months or 3 months or whatever, because they're kind of expecting those Prime members to go and see it at the theater? That was what kind of piqued my curiosity with how they were going to do their releases.
Yeah, one of the things along those same lines that I was thinking about is what that might look like for Amazon exclusive content that isn't a movie, but is a show, where every week they're putting out a new episode. And does that mean, well, yeah, because I have this membership, just like if you think about AMC's quote unquote movie pass, or what Regal does, where you can basically go to the movies every day and basically watch whatever you want, more or less. Does that mean you could go to the theater every week when the new one comes out and watch it there if you wanted to do that instead of watching it at home? And what kind of benefits there might be besides that, outside of, what we would consider normally like a movie. Could they keep you coming back to their theaters for 8 weeks straight, 13 weeks straight, and, have some kind of deal where, you're coming in and you're getting popcorn and a drink or whatever, and they're making money that way, or something along those lines. Sam, what are you thinking?
Honestly, I like what all three of y'all, brought to the table, but I'm thinking of something that we talked on a week or a couple weeks ago when we initially brought this up. It was being able to have it automated, like as a play for them. Like we've seen Amazon already started with grocery stores, like up in Seattle and stuff like that, where they can have a movie theater that can potentially make all this money, but with not having people in there, like concession stands and all that kind of stuff. Like I think it's for those reasons and mine included, I think it's a great move overall, all the way around. That's where my brain just went to it automatically. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the idea of them making a full-on acquisition is really out of the realm of possibility. I could see them making a move to grab majority ownership or grab a majority stake or something like that. I could see them maybe wanting to wait it out, right? And see that AMC is in a worse position than they are. You know what I mean?
That's
and then
true,
just
too.
they start to shut down theaters and they just swoop in and start buying the theaters instead of trying to make a deal to buy them outright. I think that the benefits of them trying to buy them outright is that they would probably, depending on what contracts look like, automatically get control of some of those contracts that they have with other companies. But that also could be a bit of a conflict of interest because it would probably give Amazon insight to what other production houses are doing and the deals that they have with AMC already. And so that probably causes an issue in and of itself. But the idea of going to an Amazon theater doesn't really sound strange to me. Does that sound like because here's my thing. Movie theaters are probably the one place where we haven't seen a true like differentiation between this is why you should come to our theater instead of somebody else's, right? Like you get it in very more like niche theaters, like an iPick or something like that, right? Or you might go to a theater because you really want to spend the extra money to go to like XD or, you know, they got reclining seats or something like that. But
I'm like strictly Alamo.
Right. Like you have, so what is it about the Alamo specifically that you like? What is it? What's that value
dinner in a
proposition?
movie. Like you go, and their prices, they might be a little higher depending on the film, but like, and now they have their own like, movie pass kind of thing where you pay $20 a month and you can see however many with all those, they have tons of restrictions, but then you get there, you sit down, you get you order food from like a legit restaurant. So it's basically all in one. I don't have to worry about dinner. I'm also getting that movie experience. So I prefer doing it that way.
I mean,
I get you.
It makes sense, right? I mean, look, not everybody can sit down and do dinner in a movie, you know, if they have like a family of 5.
No, very
right?
true.
Like,
it's
you're
very
trying to
expensive.
take the kids, and go and watch something. And so, especially in some way, shape, or form, if you already have, again, a subscription. I mean, again, Alamo has a subscription service. $20 a month. You're paying them regardless. Whether you use it every month, whether you go and see enough movies to really, you know what I mean? Like, you're using it regardless. And that is the direction that I feel like any company that can, that's what they're doing. They want you in a subscription. They want to just get your money every month and not have to worry about it. And because Amazon is already doing that to so many people, like, I don't know, man. I couldn't tell you whether or not I actually order enough stuff from Amazon to equal what I pay Amazon yearly to get the like 2-day shipping. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what it started as, was like, well, if you do a membership, you get next day or 2-day shipping or whatever it is. And that's, you know, what it was for a lot of people. Now there are a lot of other benefits that come with that, like Amazon Prime or Amazon Music or, you know, whatever else. This to me just seems like an additional added bonus. And it also seems like the kind of thing that if they did it, I don't know how other theaters would combat it. Right? Like, you have to have something else to say, well, here's why you come to our theater instead of somewhere else. Can you imagine for a second that they take theaters and let's just say it's like a 16 cinema Cineplex, and they shut down 4 of the 16 theaters and go to a 12 theater Cineplex, and 4 of those are just used to warehouse product, and you go and pick up stuff that you order from Amazon when you go to the movies? Or that you're sitting there and you see something on screen.
Oh, let me go order that right quick.
What like Stadia is trying to do, right? Like, oh man, that's dope. Or you see something in a movie product placement. I want one of those. You're already logged in through your Amazon app. They know that you're there just like they do in the grocery store. You just, I want that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you pick it up on the way out. Like, it could be a very different landscape if they get their hands on this, which I find super interesting. And I don't know who else could do it if it isn't Netflix, and they're probably not really as prepared to do it as Amazon is. So, it would be a little tricky, and it certainly would be one of those things where it's like they'll have movies you can't see anywhere else, and that's not really a thing. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really have theaters that are like, Regal's not like, hey, if you want to see such and such a movie, you have to come to Regal.
Regal, yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's not a thing. Cinemark doesn't have that. Like, oh, you want to see the new Disney movie? You better come to Cinemark.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. You know what I mean? Or whatever. At most, they're like, we have the better popcorn buckets. Then, you know what I mean? Like, if you want to see so-and-so movie, come to us because you'll get, you have this opportunity to get a
like we said, it's all about
popcorn bucket.
we have the better food here, stuff like that. Yeah, so come to this thing.
Right. I mean, if you think about it, that's really what Alamo is doing. Is like, we're not really making money on movie tickets anyway. We're making money on serving you dinner,
on the food,
and having you stay for dessert, and you ordering drinks. Like, there's margins in that don't exist elsewhere. So I think that's kind of a big deal. But on the topic of theaters and whether or not they are going to reopen, Disney has decided to put their foot down. Mulan is coming. It's coming in July. Okay. Don't you worry about a thing.
Yeah.
Mari, is this real?
I really hope so.
I said that like you work at Disney, like
right,
like you got that inside source.
Let me just talk to my contact real quick.
Right.
I think it's definitely a big possibility. Disney in Shanghai has already opened, so Disney's already trying to make moves with reopening everything. So them trying to push a movie out, a major movie that people have been waiting for, even in the middle of summer when things are still really unsure, it doesn't surprise me at all. They can always push back again, or, I mean, people will wait for it, I think. I know me personally, I would rather see this on the big screen. I loved the animated version, and I know that for this one that it's not musical. They left out certain characters that we all love.
That hurts a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But I'd still much rather see the action that is Mulan on the big screen. So I'm hoping that they'll definitely do a theatrical release, but I don't know about July.
You don't know about that. Where's your percentage at? Are we 50-50? It's not happening in July? Are we 70-30? We're talking like end of July.
It is end of July. So like probably like 70-30 that it might happen in July. Especially if theaters are going to start taking those precautions that they're talking about with being extra sanitary and not like selling out theaters and things like that. So,
I mean, Mari, are you ready to sit next to people you don't know in a theater?
The only way I'm going to be sitting in a theater is if there's like 2 seats empty next to me. You
about to have to buy them seats.
Are you going to buy this?
I almost would. Like, for the ones that I'm really looking forward to, I might actually do that. Because if you think about it, like, how many people are actually going to buy those tickets? But on top of that, with my season pass, which is what I think the Alamo calls theirs, I get 1 free ticket. So my ticket's not costing me anything. If I pay for it, well, not costing. But if I pay for the seat next to me, like, that's essentially buying a ticket. So
right. So it's really only buying 1 ticket and giving you like 3 seats.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then you sit in the middle. so that there's nobody
Barriers.
on either
Right.
side.
Those folders from school where you put them up in your on your test. I'm gonna carry those
Yeah.
around with me.
Yeah, no, that's not a. Don't do that. That's not a thing.
Do
I
you
don't
guys
know if that would
remember
work.
my Eggo box from the first year of
All-Star?
All-Star?
Yeah.
I still have it. It's literally sitting next to me.
Will you take that to the theater with you?
I might take it to
I
little viewing hole.
don't know if. So here's, you know what? Okay, so look, here's my thing. Mulan it's a family movie. It's the kind of movie you expect people with their kids or in large groups, right? Nieces, nephews, whatever it is, to go and see. This is a sit down 3 to 4 people experience for the majority of people who will go see it. That's the way I look at it. That's probably the thing that concerns me the most about something like this opening, because it's a kids movie. I would almost feel better about it if it wasn't the kind of thing that you would be expecting people to bring small children to, right?
Okay.
Who, like, social distancing for small children, not a thing.
Mm-mm.
Not a thing. Many grown men can't maintain a comfortable distance, do not understand personal space. So, like, kids and sugar, candy, drinks, so, like, frozen, like, just,
Mhm.
I don't know about the reality of that.
But I think
What I
this
will
not
say-
being a musical and being more of like an adult Disney almost, with a lot more of the action and the sword fighting. I don't know, like, that will necessarily draw as. I still agree that it is a family movie, but I don't know that it will necessarily bring as big of a family presence as like Beauty and the Beast or Dumbo or something like that.
You mean the live action ones?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I mean, you're probably right about that to an extent. I think it just depends on what the marketing for it looks like, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're marketing this as a thing to, hey, get back out of the house, bring your family,
Bring
because
the family.
we also
That's
don't
true,
know
yeah.
what the state of theaters is going to be at that time, right? And so let's say they do decide, yes, we are definitely putting this in theaters. Somebody's theater is going to be open and we're going to show it there.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that that's going to be U.S., across the entire U.S.
Right.
It doesn't mean that it's going to be throughout the world. And I think that as a corporation, they have to be looking at, what does that actually mean for our numbers when we look at the release and we start having to compare and say, well, the theatrical release of Mulan only did this, right? And where do we reap that additional money from? But the other thing, and part of the reason why I'm going to disagree with you a little bit, Mari, is going to be because I believe that the only reason why Disney is pushing for this to come out when it comes out is for the same reason that we saw them say that Trolls got released to the homes when it couldn't come to the theater, was because they had deals with people making toys that they couldn't back out of. And if you go into a Target right now, there are Trolls toys everywhere. We know Disney makes those deals. I'm positive they made them for Mulan, for toys, specifically geared towards girls. And I can tell you that because the Black Widow toys are out and have been out for like 2 weeks.
Yes, they have
Oh,
been.
man.
And that movie is supposed to be out. Jokes, you saw spoilers today, did you not?
I saw a spoiler today.
In true Disney
The
toy
crazy
fashion.
part was, I didn't I saw a box, I flipped it, and I was like, wait, this is oh. And I was just like, okay, put that back, let that go back, and let me walk away.
Yeah.
But-
I bet that hurt a little bit.
I'm eager to see what comes about of that, or maybe if this was just I don't know.
I mean, right now, Black Widow's pushed back to November.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, again, the reality of it to me is Disney wants to sell you toys, and they have to have a way to make money that isn't just Disney Plus and isn't selling you face masks, which they're doing now, by the way, too. when they don't know if they can or they are not currently able to open their parks and sell you product there, there's gotta be something that they're looking at to say, all right, well, we know the toys have to be out by this time. So we need to get this out and put it in front of children and parents so that parents can buy children things to play with, even if they are stuck in the house. And that just feels like part of what this is to me. What do you think, Sin?
I kind of agree. Like they're doing this because they need to push all the advertising and the toys and the backpacks and all that kind of stuff as well, because they've already sunk a bunch of money into this and they've already been losing money throughout this because of that. So I think they're fingers crossed, hoping and praying that this July release for Mulan can be a thing.
Yeah,
I think that's what. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think they're really hoping on being able to put it out there in the theaters and recoup as much of that back as possible.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to happen personally, but I think they're optimistically aiming for it.
Mari, let me ask you a question. Let's say that midway through July, it becomes a reality that this is just not going to happen in theaters. And so Disney decides we are going to, even though it's not the way we want to do it, we're going to push this to Disney Plus. We're going to push it out so people can buy it or rent it through whatever streaming service they have, whatever they want to get it from. And then they'll do it the same way they did Onward, right? Mm-hmm. Onward was, we're going to put it out for people to buy. And then in a couple of weeks, we'll release it to Disney Plus. And then anybody who has Disney Plus can watch it. Let's say that's the route they chose to go. Do you have Disney Plus currently?
I do, yeah.
Okay. One, would you watch it on Disney Plus if they did that?
Absolutely.
Okay. If they said, we're going to put it on Disney Plus, but for the first 3 weeks, you're going to have to buy it if you want to watch it, would you buy it?
No.
You wouldn't. You would wait.
Yep.
Okay. If they said, we're going to put it on Disney Plus, but when theaters open up, we're still going to put it in theaters.
I'm going
Would
to the
you
theater.
watch it on Disney Plus and still go to the theater to see it?
Yep. Yeah. I'm a
So they can't really lose.
I love movies. So like, especially in the theater. So
yeah.
I'm like a purist in that, where I just love seeing them on the big screen. I will see movies repeatedly. I think I saw Tropic Thunder like 7 times in the theater. I was working there, to be fair.
Okay. That's a little bit.
Don't get us started with Tropic Thunder, please.
Hey.
Ooh, boy.
I will see a movie repeatedly if I really enjoy it, and especially if I have nothing to do. So that's I love going to the theater.
I mean, going to the theater is something to do. I certainly understand that. So does that mean, would you say that you think, are you an anomaly? Do you think that most people, even if they put it out on Disney Plus and it was available for them to watch at home, might still do the same thing and go to the theater and watch it too?
I'd say I'm an anomaly, because like you said, like especially with families, they're not going to haul all their kids to the theater to watch it there. You might get some like people who are closer to our age who are like, well, I love going to the theater, and I grew up on Disney and Mulan, and I want to see it on the big screen. There might be a handful of us out there. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely, it would be very interesting to see how many people went that route.
So what happens if it comes to Disney Plus and you watch it and it's not as good as you hoped it would be? You still go to the theater to see it?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. I'm just seeing how serious this is. You're going to the theater either way.
I'm going to the theater, yeah.
All right. I dig that. How bad would it have to be for you to not go see it in the theater?
I'd have to be kind of like speechless, like somewhere in the middle of that movie where I'm just looking at it going, what were they thinking? Which doesn't happen very often. So
sure.
It would definitely have to be.
You pick movies that you already have an interest in.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Okay, Sin. So,
Mhm.
what about for you? I mean, I know you have access to Disney Plus.
Yes.
If they put it on Disney Plus and you
I'm
watch
watching
it
it.
there, like
Mhm.
I know this is not Fast and the Furious for you. I know if it was Fast and the Furious, you're gonna watch
Totally.
it both ways.
I'd watch it before they put it out. Yeah. Go ahead.
But Mulan,
Mhm.
would you do the same thing?
I'd watch it on Disney Plus.
And
I would. Honestly, I probably wouldn't go to the theater after it came out.
right,
Unless if it was like a group of people and it was going to be a thing, sure. Depending on after I watched it on Disney Plus, if I thought it was good or not.
how you felt about it?
Yeah, but
If you and could that be getting ready to become a thing? Could we be getting ready to get to a place where things will release at home and it will have to be good enough for you to be like, man, that was so good. I would love
And
to
then
see
go
that
see it
in the theater.
theater.
And then people will be going. Jokes, is that where we are right? Is that a possibility that's where we're getting ready to be?
That could be a possibility. And then what'll happen is probably maybe the theater runs just won't be as long as what they were in the past. Maybe they even get shorter per se, and then maybe we get the hard physical releases a lot sooner than we know. Like that time frame where we have from like movies being in the theater to coming to DVD and Blu-ray, that time frame has shortened a lot over the years. So something like this, so something like this could possibly make it even go shorter than that. Like certain movies, like at this point, it's like everything you just do digital. Like I get it. Like certain things come out. Like there's a special edition. Like I'm the type of guy, if there's like a special edition of something, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna get the special edition of it. But if there's no,
Yes, you are.
but there's no like extra or anything like that to it, like I'm gonna get it digital, and I'm good at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't even think we can really look at physical as a thing that determines what people do for most people now. I mean, there are still a lot of people who do physical. They're going to get forced out of that probably sooner than later.
Mhm.
And honestly, something like this might be a catalyst for making that happen. Because, what, yeah.
I'm not trying to cut you off, but Tyrone joined in the chat that said he doesn't think so because that's how awards are dictated.
That's how, like, the movie theater is how awards are dictated?
That's a statement, so I'm just...
I mean, to an extent, that's true. However, we are beginning to see more and more that that's not the case anymore. We are beginning to see movies that are going straight to Netflix and so forth begin to take awards. Now, whether or not the Academy, which is mostly a joke as it is anyway, begins to do that is a whole different ballgame. But even that, see, the thing that a lot of people don't understand about awards is that those kinds of things really, more of what they do is they help determine what you as an actor, a director, or whatever can say you demand up front for the amount of money you get when you star in something, when you become a part of something. Being able to say you are an award-winning this, that, or the third is really more of what I'm really saying is you must pay me at least this much, or don't even talk to me. Don't even look in my direction. Or you got to be something crazy, crazy indie that I just want to be a part of. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm going to give you some. That's what those award shows are really for. And that's really what a lot of the complaint is about when people feel like, well, we don't get the credit that we deserve. The reason why people are complaining about getting the credit they deserve is because them not getting that credit also means that they don't get the money they should get when they go to get the next, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But all that's changing. And because the way that so many films are being introduced to people up front, same thing with TV, is through direct streaming services, there's no choice but that for that to change. And that will also be a thing that will probably change based on what we're going through right now. Would be that same kind of thing. So, awards are sweet and all. When's the last time you watched an award show? Right.
Game Awards, we all watched it last year.
Yeah, that's it. Game Awards.
That's it. Yeah, like other than
you know what? I'm not gonna lie. When like Endgame and stuff got nominated for the few categories, I tuned in just because I wanted to see how that was gonna go.
But then the pop culture thing.
Yeah, but then after that, it just got shut off. Like that was it.
Yeah, I think last year.
I'm cool because the moment the awards happen, it's all over Google. It's all over. Like you can just look it up. You can see everybody who won. You don't need to watch it. And then for real, if there are any great moments, they're immediately available. They're on YouTube. They're whatever. Like there's no like that zeitgeist exists in the moment, and you don't have to be tuned in anymore. And that also takes away a lot of the prestige from that kind of a thing. It's like you got an award, but nobody's watching. So, I mean, it matters. But again, only to the people who write the checks. We don't write the checks. We complain about who gets the awards anyway.
All day.
You know what I mean?
All the time.
All day. Yeah.
Mari, who's your favorite actor? Actor, not actress. Actor. Who's your favorite actor?
Oh God, that's a curveball.
That is a curveball. I have a couple.
Is that the second curveball you had?
That's a curveball.
No, that's not the second curveball I had. It's a completely different one.
Oh, that's a good one. Though.
You just hold tight.
I don't actually. Michael Fassbender and Bill Nighy. They're like two of my favorites. Very opposite.
I did that.
But,
no.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I have a question. Can you tell me the last awards they got?
Nope.
It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. It's just not. It's not really a thing anymore. Curveball. You ready? Here it is.
Here we go. See?
Curveball behind the curveball. Like,
all right, let's go.
Hey, listen. I was thinking about this the other day. If the Inhumans had worked, would Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. still be a thing? Like, would it be a good thing that we care about?
I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will still be going strong. I think so.
It's still on. I mean, it's got one season left.
Final season. But I think really with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is just because of the whole continuity of how they had to do things with the MCU and all that type of stuff. I don't know if Agents kind of just like, how do we want to kind of melt this in or whatever? Because like, I don't want to get into spoilers, but obviously things have happened that it's kind of.
I don't think you can. No, let me just. Does anybody care about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I've been stopped.
You see that? You see
okay.
You see
well,
that?
then let's just say
that's kind of my point.
Cool. So it involves time. So just like how Endgame came with the time factor, it's like I think it's going to end up being in that place where it doesn't necessarily fit inside of the MCU. Maybe someplace down the road, maybe they'll just say, "Hey guys, you know what? We've kind of caught up. Let's just pull the agents back for like a special or something like that." But I don't know how much more they can do because technically S.H.I.E.L.D. is gone, so it's like it's hard to really do anything with the company that's gone.
Mari, did you ever watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I started on season 1 and I maybe got like 5 or 6 episodes in, and then I was like, yeah, no.
Dang.
It gets
that bad.
really good in like the 3rd season.
It's not that bad.
But it was all of the Marvel shows happening at one time, and the DC shows, and everything was just like
kind of keep up. I can get that.
I just was like, all right, I gotta pick and choose what I'm watching right now. Like I'm far behind on basically all of them now. So
I can understand that.
Yeah.
I think my only issue right now, I hate the Inhumans because I feel like they did Coulson dirty. Like, I love Agent Coulson. He was so important. He was so important to the MCU. And the fact that, like, when Endgame happened, that's the one dude. Like, I wanted somebody to just be like, listen, if Cap would have been like Avengers Assemble for Coulson, I'd have been like, yes! Yes! My man. Like, everybody forgot about my dude, and he's like the reason they became the Avengers. Even though Nick Fury, who was probably a Skrull at the time, lied about it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like my man Coulson got done dirty in the long and short of it. It's like all of what happened. People got snapped or whatever, and they still have no idea that dude's still alive.
Nope. I want to see that interaction. I don't know what it's gonna take to just wait a minute. Coulson? It just like right. I just want that interaction somehow.
That'd be amazing.
I would love to
see that.
I'm just saying, like,
I don't know. It's got to happen someplace. Give my man
You
his
don't care
last
at all,
little.
huh? Sin?
I
You like
just-
whatever.
No, it's not that. It's when Agents of Shield first started. It was the whole. It's time. The show is tying into the movies, and the first
Right.
season did that so well. Sorry, Mario, you should have finished the first season.
I-
It did that
Yeah.
so
Second
well.
season did too.
Yeah,
Second
like,
season did too. Yeah.
then it just fell off hard, and every season
Yeah.
to me was the same thing. Like the first half of the season, honestly, I didn't really care about. The second,
Mhm.
always the second half of that season
picked
always,
up.
Yeah, yes, always.
Mhm.
And it kept that same cadence every single time, and it just stopped tying in as much to the Marvel's movies, and that's why I'm watching it in the first place. Why just stop caring after a while? Like, all right, whatever, like go.
Right.
Like,
I feel like they lost once everything really started hitting with Netflix, and then when that went away, it was just like,
Yeah.
whatever. All right, so look, last topic. Did y'all see that CW picked up the rights for Swamp Thing?
Saw that. Saw that.
All right.
Mhm.
Now, does anybody care?
I mean, I like the fact that maybe I'll be able to watch it, but
kind of.
Yeah, I would like to see it. I know nothing.
I didn't
about
watch
Swamp
it.
Thing.
Yeah, that was the thing. I
And
didn't watch
so-
it. Heard great
yeah.
things. Heard great things
Yeah.
about it.
Agree, both y'all.
Yep.
Like,
I
like,
just never took. Yeah, I just never took the time. I had the DC streaming service for the free trial, and then I just let it go away.
Mhm.
But,
Mhm.
but yeah, like the only issue is like now they got the rights, so of course I don't know how other than being on like CW Seed or something, ain't no way they gonna be able to show that on the actual CW TV station unless they plan to edit and do whatever things out of it. But I don't know. Like if they try to make another season, now that'd be a fail, I think, because it worked on the streaming service because they weren't bound by like a PG rating and all that type of stuff. But
Yeah.
CW was, I mean, granted, if they somehow figure out how to merge him in with the Arrowverse, and I don't know, but I don't think it'll work.
No, that's my thing. When I saw it, like, I feel like DC, they so amped into the streaming game and had their own service and subscription service and all that kind of stuff. Like, CW was doing very well with DC properties. Like, don't take away from that. Like, maybe it should have gone there initially, and some of the other shows. You know what I mean? Before then, like that Arrowverse was cultivating. It's extremely popular. Like every time the season's about to start, it's on the cover of Entertainment Weekly. Like,
Yep.
it's a big thing. It's a massive thing. Like, don't take away from what you could be adding to that to use. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm cool with it, but it might be too little, too late.
Yeah. At this
With,
point, the TV universe is the best thing DC got going for themselves right now. So
Yeah.
And the animated movies.
That is
But
not
the
nonsense,
anime-
Ray. You
Animated
are so wrong.
movies-
about
okay, the
that.
animated movies are good, but aren't
Nope.
they going to stop that or change focus or do something with that now? Like,
I
I
mean,
don't
probably.
know. Yeah, but
But point is, I'm not gonna let you discredit the animated movies.
I don't mean to discredit the animated universe. They're amazing. I haven't watched the last few movies, but
I'm catching up on them.
Shame
But,
on you.
yeah, I'm not gonna let
same
you
here.
discredit
Same here.
I'm watching the Apocalypse War right now. I ain't even listening to y'all. I'm watching the now. Okay.
How dare you?
them.
How dare
I
you?
just finished, which one did I just finish? I
Oh.
finished Reign of Superman this morning.
Did you?
You struggled
It's
through
good
it.
Yes, I
didn't
do.
you? You struggled through
What
it.
you getting
though,
ready to
didn't
say, Mari?
I struggled. I finished.
Oh, I was just thinking the PG rating. Like, if you've ever seen Riverdale, they do a lot of racy stuff on that show, and it's a
They do.
CW property, so they could
Yep.
still do pretty decent by Swamp Thing. So I don't think count them out totally.
Cool. Haven't watched Riverdale, so hey.
Hey, bro, let me tell you something. I didn't want to. But you don't know what you missing. Riverdale,
All right, I agree.
Riverdale ain't
It's
Archie.
good.
I mean,
It's not.
It ain't our Archie that we know. It's
nah,
dark
it ain't
Archie.
Archie. bro.
Dark Archie.
You know what I mean?
Dark Archie.
Yeah, it's Darchie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
Dark.
That's not the same thing,
Oh,
man.
that's
You know, here's the thing. I don't know if Swamp Thing. I know that there were when I was a child, they tried to do Swamp Thing several times, like movies and stuff like that, right? And Swamp Thing really is more or less like the Toxic Avenger. He's like, hey, listen, I know. Hey, listen, I knew that was gonna mean something to you, Sin.
Oh,
Marion jokes, y'all might be
Sorry.
too young,
I
but
think so.
Toxic Avenger is
That's what my brain went.
terrible. But it got a show, it got a cartoon, it was a whole thing.
Yes.
But here's the thing: Swamp Thing is a beast. Like, but if you watch, I feel like Swamp Thing could be the star that they weren't expecting if they did a Dark Justice League show. A Justice League Dark show that has Swamp Thing in it, I think, would serve better to really introduce Swamp Thing and give a following and so forth than you would get. Because I think the combination of Swamp Thing and Constantine and Zatanna and, you know what I mean, like, would be way better than Swamp Thing, which sounds a lot like Swamp People, which is a show on the History Channel. And I don't know if you getting, you know what I'm saying? Like, not a bad show. It's funny. Not a bad show. But, you know, how do you really advertise? I don't think Swamp Thing does well on CW. I just don't. I think there's potential in that. If they do it the right way and they do cross Swamp Thing over with the rest of the Arrowverse, then there is a possibility that it gets new life the way Supergirl did when it came from CBS over to CW. Or Black Lightning became like when they finally decided to not treat it like a stepchild and actually treat it like it was part of the Arrowverse. So I do think that, like, in a world where Guardians of the Galaxy is a popular franchise, like in the mainstream, almost anything is possible if it's done the right way. So could Swamp Thing be a thing? Yes. Is CW probably its best chance at it? Yes. I mean, it's not like they're doing anything new. They basically have the rights to broadcast what was already done. And so they could do some editing, you know what I mean, and stuff like that to make adjustments to it. But I don't know if Swamp Thing I don't even know if in a show by himself you can really show how powerful Swamp Thing is, which is one of the best reasons. If you watch the animated Justice League Dark, boy, you really get to see what Swamp Thing can do. Ooh, I don't have that happening. You know what I mean, on CW. So I don't know if that works. Listen.
You know what? That's what Tyrone just put in there before you said that. He was like, "Everyone watch the Justice League Dark. You're welcome."
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Tyrone, you are exactly right. So look, before we wrap up, I want to at least, Mari, I want you to tell people what you have going on, because you got these whole awesome come watch movies with me thing, social distance style, happening right now. Let everybody who's watching know about those kinds of things, if you would.
I run the All-Star Comic-Con Movie Club, and this Saturday we're actually watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory using Netflix Party. So if you have a Netflix subscription, you can definitely tune in with us, chat along, and enjoy that together. I linked in the event the Willy Wonka, which is a tipsy bartender beverage. It sounds really delicious. Yeah.
Things are happening.
Yeah.
Things are happening. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. For those of you who are interested in, really, not even if it's just Willy Wonka, because y'all do other movies and, you know, it happens periodically. So, you know,
we do it
tune in,
keep
an eye on it so you can jump in and see what's being watched. Willy Wonka won that poll by a landslide.
Oh, yeah. Like, hands down, Willy Wonka.
Yeah. How many times have you seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?
Oh,
yeah.
So I couldn't even count. Like,
the real question.
Yeah. Well, the last one we did was Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So not a family-friendly movie. So I think when people were like, "Ooh, it's a Saturday night," and I've been stuck with my kids, I'll sit them in front of this screen and just hang out with my friends while drinking this beverage.
Yeah, so that could be part of what that was. Saw Bad Boys in there and they got swamped.
Yeah, I was trying to add like a bit of variety. There was Bad Boys and there was like another action movie, and I always try and add variety into the polls, but Willy Wonka just
stole the show.
Straight up landslide.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to wrap the show up. I want to thank you, Mari, for joining us. It has been awesome. You have to do this again.
I would love to.
Okay, awesome. Even if you weren't going to, while the stream is running, you have to say yes.
Maybe we can get you guys in on our podcasts.
I mean, say word. You know what I mean? I've been watching.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've been watching. Yeah, y'all had a pretty good stream last night. That was for sure. I saw Kevin Bednar's in there.
Kevin Bednar,
special guesting. Bednar's. Listen, we want to keep doing this. We want to keep having guests come on and join us to talk about things that are happening, so that we can experience a little bit of social closeness while we social distance, if you will. Right? Sen, you've been stuck in the house for how many days?
I lost count.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, as soon as they said, "Hey, y'all can start working from the home," I was
like, let's do it.
Game over, man. I'm in the house.
Yeah, let's go.
Real talk.
I've lost count.
Hey, listen, I will tell you that what you are missing is these empty streets, because I know how you like to drive. Now's the time, sir.
I do.
Now's the time.
I do.
You are missing out on that.
I pulled a race car out. I'm like,
yeah. See, that's exactly
what, getting to work.
There's no commutes are cut way down right now. Gas prices are super low.
Oh my god!
You know, super duper low. Look, again, you guys, thank you for tuning in. Mari, what's gonna happen is when we end the stream, it's gonna kick you out, and I'm gonna feel bad about it. So I'm apologizing ahead of time. I'm just letting you know.
What?
You sure? Is it gonna kick her out? Actually,
what? Before you do that, B, just to give a shout out to people that's been in the comments.
Let's do that.
Let me tell you
Let's
this.
get them.
Hold on, before you do that, Robbie and Tyrone have been going back and forth within this chat for like the last 15, 20 minutes. It's been hilarious.
Are they arguing with each other?
Oh man,
just having fun. But Tyrone and Robbie have been in there having a ball. Slade has been in there. Last thing Slade put in there, Miss Slade gonna be beefing. Apparently this on. He's gonna put Cyclops stuff on my page. All this
perfect.
All I need though is Slade to tag all of us to see
that.
Perfect.
It's not happening. But Kristen's been in there. Who else? I'm trying to scroll through it. Jamie jumped in there at the last minute, say what's up. Say she's late to the party, but she's checking it out.
Glad to have you.
So yeah. So
look, we're gonna do it again tomorrow. It's just tomorrow we'll be talking about video games.
Can't wait till tomorrow.
Kind of how it works. Kind of how it works. That Tony Hawk's Pro Skater announcement today. We got some things to talk about.
I grew up playing that game, man.
I lost it today during work.
Now you're gonna be grown up playing that game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's about to go down. Yeah. So we got lots to talk about tomorrow too. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. We do greatly appreciate it. We're gonna try to keep doing this every week as long as they keep us in the house. We're gonna try to come to you guys live and do this. We will be reaching out to folks to join us just like Mari did. Thank you again, Mari. We greatly appreciate you. We love you.
We love you guys too. There's multiple people here. But thanks for having me on.
Of course.
Of course.
With that, we are out, you guys. Toodles and loos.
Bye.
Experience a little bit of social distance.
Did you like what you just saw?
Would
you like to help us grow? Exactly. Here's what you can do. Shoot over to patreon.com/snack.
Game
Don't
over.
forget to like, share, and subscribe on your favorite platform.
I will tell you
of choice.
Empty Streets.
Appreciate you.
Now's the time.